Let there be light, and there was light. Words of the said God. We are bringing you news from the front desk of Mother Eve, the said God. Okay, the said God is the God of language, the God of wisdom, the God of source, the God of gods. We are talking about the Lord God that is made reference to, although there are different lords, but we are talking about source, the waters, that which is life, that which is breath, that which moved, that which was in the Garden of Eden, but of course is the wisdom. We hear about the wisdom of the wisest creatures of all. So we are talking about the serpent. We are talking about Satan. And please do not be mistaken with Satan and Lucifer. They're very different according to Mother Eve. So these are things that we are discovering here. Of course, these were stories that have been passed on to us, and we have, of course, made, we have formed these entities as well, of course. And when I say weave, through generation, because everything is source, but we have created this other part of what is, or what is illusion, or what is termed evil, and so on. So there's so much that has been passed on to us, and of course the more something or an idea or notion or anything gets energy and gets attention, it gets life. We give life to it. And so we have created, we could say, numerous entities that we give names to. We give them names, of course, and they come alive in all different ways. Now, but the purpose of this, in fact, I'm believing now that I am very guided here by Mother Eve, because I started with the intention of talking about the 666, and it has brought to my mind the mark of the beast, which is the worst scenario that we can think of according to how this story has been passed on to us. Now, again, we have to go on the precept of what we believe to be true, what we believe to be right, or how we have been conditioned. And so we have this mathematical book, which is the Bible, the King James Version of the Holy Bible, and we relate to every story as though it were the truth that needs no more investigation or no question or anything like that. And we take those stories very literal in the sense of how they have been conveyed to us. And it is important that we remember the words of the teaching of Jesus Christ in this sense, even when he says, believe, if you believe in your heart. So there's the thing that we have taken very much for granted. If you believe, it's really saying that you need to be mindful as well what you believe. We don't seem to want to question that which we believe, or we feel that if we believe something, then it is the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth. And now I am now addressing those very questions that I once believed, even through the scriptures. So now I am questioning this 666. In fact, I read the story and I believe, like I have said, that when believe again, there's the lie, there's the word lie in believe, or belief, which is very profound words. Those words, they form like, they like hinges, though they are our anchor. We anchor onto those words. But what about knowledge? What about knowing? What about knowing? Of course, even with the words of Christ too, when he says, if you know within the answer that you ask, you know, every answer is within the heart. Now, when we look in the word heart, and that's another thing that we need to observe, the word heart constitute art, A-R-T. It constitute air, it constitute heat, it constitute hat. There are so many things. If we break down the word heart, we will understand that the answer probably lies in a section or one of these hinges, we could say, and not necessarily as we were taught to think, well, it's just what pumps out, like the heart pumps the blood. Of course, maybe that would show us which area we are placing our attention. But I have said a lot in this sense, and not to deviate from what I really want to show here, because I can't give you a straight answer onto that story in Revelation where John had this vision. If I came with a certain vision similar to this or something or on that kind of parallel, I probably would be locked up and in some institution and think, well, you know, it's absolute rubbish. But there was a vision that has been passed on to us where we need to pay attention to this vision of John and take it literal. We have forgotten that the book is a book of riddles. That's the Holy Bible. It's got riddles. It's got proverbs. Proverbs are riddles as well. We read proverbs and think there is no other layer to it. The Bible is like a cake, and we could say an unreasoned cake. It almost brings to mind as well. Perhaps it's very much on parallel with unleavened bread, meaning there is no yeast in it. And of course, we have been giving it yeast, but with the attention that we have been invested in the scriptures, we have been giving it yeast, but there are many hidden gems that are in the mathematical construct. And so far, it's over a year I have been doing presentations on this YouTube channel, and I have come with many questions that give rise to what some would say was adverse to a lot of the things that I had learned in Christianity, for example, or even with the 666 that I am wanting to point out. And I am seeing the correlations in the mathematical constructs are really showing truth. And it's not, it cannot be contested in the way that I have seen it to say, well, no, that the numbers don't add up. They do add up. They do reflect a certain truth that shows that we have a responsibility to delve deeper, or to lift the veil, so to speak, or to understand and listen with a different mindset, or look for different lenses. So we have discovered 14 gods in the scriptures. Now, I have been doing this, and I had not really seen or heard from any other source or where one would point out the 14 gods from the scriptures and in Genesis of chapter 1 and chapter 2. So I have learned, yes, it was the book was taken from an old or from prior teachings, and from the teachings of the story, even of, say, the mythical stories of Osiris, who was cut in 14 pieces. So yes, I have heard this, but I had not seen it pointed out. And so with this findings, I would put it this way, sounding like some scientists, with this discovery, I am seeing that there is a correlation and there is a wisdom that I had not seen before. So the gods come. This is the riddle, that they come as the called God, the created God, the blessed God, the divided God, the made God, the moved God, the ended God, the said God, the saw God, the formed God, the set God, the caused God, the breathed God, the planted God. And that's the news from the front desk of Mother Eve, the serpent. Okay, but really, having looked at this selection of gods, we can see how subtle those teachings have been. It's like talking about truth in hidden places, or in plain sight, truth in plain sight. Because who would have thought that the word moved was really pertaining to a god? So we can see this gives us a certain insight that there are hidden gems in the scriptures, but we have a responsibility to find them. When we find them, to understand how we can get them to work for us, or understand how they can enrich our lives. So we are talking about the fifth and eighth dimension. And of course, when we talk about the fifth and eighth dimension, we are talking about Mother Eve, who has this gem of knowledge that it seemed like only those who are prepared to enter or be or acknowledge the fifth and eighth dimension will really understand this truth. It seemed like it was, on my part, the magic words, or the discovery that was necessary for me to recognize myself in that dimension, because it's like, seek and ye shall find, and this is what I was called to do. Now, what I have discovered, and I have done new presentations on this to show that through these 14 gods, we have them in subdivisions according to their expression numbers. Their expression numbers are their vibration numbers, which I also had termed them as their life path number. But here I would rather say the expression numbers. So for instance, we have the God who moved and made and ended as 5. They all are of the 5 vibration. And we have the created God as the 2, which is the first master number, the 11. So the created God was, here we could say, that's the master here. Of course, I was just thinking of the word master has in it the as. It is as. The word as is there in master, and lots of other words. I know I have touched on that in other presentations. Now, I have pointing out the 3 gods who each have the 5 vibration, the vibration of 5 each, like in the center of the sacrifice template. I'm just going to show you, which comes to 15. Of course, you can see the new here, as we say, the news. So NEW under the 5 column, so we can see that it would seem that they were the gods who created the new this is just coming now, who created the new people or the new species of people. Of course, I had seen the made God, for instance, as Adam, but we have the made God, the moved God, and the ended God. So they would seem like the main gods who were responsible for these new species that we had become. That, as I said before, we are the result of an experimentation that happened involving 6 women. So there, when we add 3 5s are 15, 1 plus 5 equals 6. So we see that there was 6 women here. Now, if you ask me how I know it's women, it's really a cross with the intuitive messages from Mother Eve and the numerical values. So I go into meditation and meditate on certain vibration of the numbers that I get, and get the validation in that meditation for the numerical values that I get. So, of course, for instance, this is very easy to see now, which I had not planned. I had not planned this. It's over a year since we constructed this sacrifice template, and it is ongoing studies or looking or examination that I have come to the 4th entry of the gods, which we have here. The called God would be 1, the created God would be 2. That's after we have examined this, and we have the blessed and divided God. So the 3 gods here, they add and they sum up to the 15, which we are talking about, because on the 2nd verse of the scriptures we have, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the deep. And then, of course, later on, we in Genesis of chapter 1, when God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness. Now we had the made God, which is Adam. Of course, we have E at the end here, but we could see the words here in it themselves give us the impression, or give us the answer, that this is really Adam. This is Adam. But of course, because Mother Eve is the orchestrator, or the God of gods in this sense, we had to have the E at the end to ensure that Mother Eve's signature or emblem is on there. This is we cannot not have a part of Mother Eve in that creation. So the E at the end was really saying that it is Mother Eve. Now, of course, when we look at the word Adam, it's really the word made. It's really, or I had another word for it, which is okay, I was thinking of the word name as well, but it's not name. It will come when it does. Okay, so we had 6. So adding these in their division, in their values, we have 6 here. We had the 3 5s are 15, so that became 1 6. The said God stands by herself in the 5th column, like on the template, and she is 6. So if you recall, on here, right here, we can see that we have the 5 above the new, and the 6 is below. So there, Mother Eve has made her presence felt in that column as well. As I said, she's Eve. Eve is 5, and 6, of course, is the said God. So even if Adam had done this, or with the made, moved, and ended, Mother Eve is still, her emblem is still on both end of the spectrum of that creation, with number 5 and number 6. Adding these 2 numbers together gives us 11, and the 11, of course, is that which showed up in the word created, the master number. So Mother Eve is still the maker, we could say, of this creation. It's that she sublet or subcontract or have this contract or give the contracts out. So for instance, if you're a builder, you would employ people of all different special in their special talents or gifts to. So you'd have the plumber, you'd have the electrician, you would have all of these people, and yes, their names would be on certain contracts to perform in those acts, but the overall contract or the overall maker would be you. But of course, you can actually give that contract out to the builder, and he can actually even have his name on the on part of the building as well, and not necessarily that he had orchestrated the whole thing. But there was an architect, there was an electrician, there was a plumber, there were plasterers, and everyone in their own speciality. And that is what it's about with the gods. So this is why it's important that we get to understand our makeup and how the gods, of course, are part of who we are, to understanding creation, because the creation, the God who created, for instance, or the created God, is really one who had encapsulate quite a lot of skills and other things from, as I have just shown, how Mother Eve could be seen as the created God here as well, with all the other gods. And so Mother Eve has called us, as we are in the 5th and 8th dimension, to be co-creators of the new people, new nation, to say, let us make man in our image. Mother Eve uses the word our image, after our likeness. And so we can understand exactly what that means by understanding, even if we were to think that we are going about doing things our way, like Adam, the made God, the moved God, and the ended God thought they had done without Mother Eve. No, Mother Eve is still the grand Lord of Lords in creation. So that's what I really want to point out. But the focus here is to see that the importance of the 666 as well, that people have been knocking us in whatever way that it's understood. But I want to show the parallel here, because I think everything has a parallel, or has its the face and the tail side to it, so to speak. So we had the 6 here for the 3 gods, and the 6 for Mother Eve, and we also had another 6 for wow, oh, for the soul God and the formed God, because they both are, no, it's not the soul God and the formed God. I've got to get this now. It's the blessed God and the divided God. They both are 3 each. And so we added this. So the blessed God is 3, divided God is 3. Adding this together is 6. So they come at the 3rd entry in that examination that we have done. And the other gods, so we can see that these 3, 4, and 5 here have something in common. And the 3, 4, and 5 here consist of 5 gods. Just 6 gods. Consists of 6 gods. So perhaps, now I'm just doing this intuitively, perhaps this could be seen as the 6 as I have mentioned. We are of 6 women, we are of 6 species, or whatever it was when we were made, and we are also looking at 666. So here we have these come in the 3 columns here, in the 3 rows: the blessed God, the divided God, the moved God, the made God, the ended God, and the said God, which said God is Mother Eve. So we are seeing that there is a common denominator right there with the number 6. So that constitutes 6 here. Okay, so this is the 666 I really want to point out here. Now there's another 666 that we have pointed out, and we will just revisiting this. When we add each column here on the sacrifice template, or we add all these 26 letters of the alphabet right here, we add JAS, Jazz, the bucket, the lock, development, new, Fox, Gypsy Journey, headquarters zone, inland revenue. We have constructed this template, which we call the sacrifice template, adding each row together, and the sum total of each row gives us a pattern of 369, 369, 369. Of each of these blocks, the middle number happens to be 6. The middle number here is 6. So each center of the columns or each block gives us 6. And when we add these numbers here also, we have 6. Each block, numbers 1 to 3 gives 6. Numbers 4, 5, 6, like we have seen on the one that I have just shown, also gives us 6. Now that happens to be the middle, as we can see, 4, 5, 6. That's the middle that I have just counted with the made gods on here. I believe it's 4, 5, 6. Let's just check. No, it's 3, 4, 5. Okay, 3, 4, 5 that I have. And then we have 7, 8, 9. When we add this together, so this is 6, this is 24, and this would be, this is 18, and this is 24. And each of these gives us 6. I said 18 would be 9, no. So this would be 3, this would be 15, 15 here. The reef would be 15. The sack is 6, and the ice, of course, the ice age would give us 24, which is also 6 when we add 2 plus 4. So we can see there is the pattern of 6s here and the patterns of 6 here. Of course, if we add these blocks together, we would have 9. But 9, of course, when we do the numerical value, work out the numerical value for the number, for the word 9, we end up with 6 as well. So 6 in this sense, I am saying, is a very significant pattern that we are coming up with each time we do some major sum. For instance, we have added all these gods. We added all these gods together, and we did end up with the number 6. So we can see the said God, Mother Eve, is the only one here, for instance, standing by herself, implicitly by herself in this row of 5, which equals 6. So Mother Eve is the serpent, the wisest of all creatures. There is another thing that I want to do very quickly, so we can see another pattern with the number 6. Okay, I'm going to erase this. Yeah. So another pattern with the number 6, the 3 6s that we get, is when we add all these, when we work out the numerical value for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so when we work out the numerical value for these numbers, we have a common denominator of, hold on, let's see. So this is 6, 5, 5. Adding these together gives us 16, so this is 7. We can see 1 equals 7. Here is 2, 5, 6. Adding this together, 11 plus 2 is 13. So 13 is 4. I'm just going to leave it like this for now because there's something about the number 13 we need to be paying attention to as we go along. So for 3 is 2, 8, 9, 5, 5. So this is 10, 29. 2 plus 9, of course, is 11. There's the first master number here. So 4 is 6, 6, 3, 9. 9, that's 18, 19, 24. 24 is 6. And 5 is 6 as well. So this is 6, 9, 4, 5. Adding this together, this is 15, 24. So we have 2 6s already. And we have 9. I know 9 is 6, so I'm just looking at the timer. Okay, we can do this. 1, 9, 6. So this is 10, 16. 6 is 7. And of course, we have Mother Eve in the middle of 7, the word 7, which is 1, 5, 4, 5, 5. Adding this together, this is 20. We can see how the word created, which equals 2, of course, and then it is said that God created the heavens and the earth in 7 days or 6 days, and the 7th day he hallowed it. So we can see, or blessed it, so we can see how 7 is really 2 here, and of course we see 1. Meaning one creation. There was one creation that was done in 7 days. And here, the 7 here is actually telling us that there were 2 creations in, or the 7, the word 7 actually denotes that there were 2 creations. So basically, we can see that 1 is 7 here, but of course 7 is 2. That is saying there were 2 sets of creation. Okay, and 9 now is 5, 9, 5, 5. Adding this together, this is 24. 2 plus 4. And of course, we have gained 6 in the exact format of 24, not 33 or anything like that. All 24. Every 6 was of 24. So it'd be interesting for us to get more about 24, or why, or 24. Of course, we know about 24 hours of the day and so on, but what is the other message that is being conveyed here, that we should have 3 numbers with that with 24. Now, of course, having said that, Mother Eve's first letter, when she says, let there be light, meaning the first letter equals 3. So that tells us a lot, that there is a strong correlation there as well. Okay, and perhaps that was one of the 6s. Okay, well, I'm just thinking, well, let's knock that point. Okay, but the word 8 now, let's just get on to 8. This is 5, 9, 7, 8, 2. So this is 10, 26, 31. 3 plus 1 is 4. Okay. So we see that 8 in actual fact equals 4. So now we are in the 8th dimension. It's that we are creating a wholeness there with the number 4. In actual fact, we are doing this 6 right here. We are called to do 6, and 6 is the number of man. We are called to do 5, be like Mother Eve, and of course 6 is the said God. We are also called to do 9, meaning to have this birth, birth newness, where it's going to be also 6. So just to point out, we have 3 6s in Numbers 1 to 9. 3 6s right here, which is 666, that has been spoken of as the mark of the beast. And how can we really escape this 6, the 4, the 5, and 9? If we are not prepared to birth newness, for instance, with number 9, if we are not prepared to break or eat of that 8, like Mother Eve ate of the fruit, to chew, break down, absorb, and be illuminated, because there's a nose bridge we have to know, and to know we have to cross. We have to cross or move beyond what we believe, what we knew, or what we thought we knew. So we have to cross. The word bridge, to bridge something, the word bridge equals 9. So there we are. We need to birth newness. We need to, bring about the new creation. This is why the child is birthed after 9 months. And so this is what we are working with. We are at the number 8, where Mother Eve has invited us into this realm, the 5th and 8th realm. And that creation that is about to happen, which we are participants of, is going to be birthed in 9. 9 will be that which births the new creature, made in our image and likeness. Okay, so I think I have managed to point out the 666 correlations that I saw. So the correlation of number 1 to 9 in the word form, which is of course written, because numbers are not really stated. It is written. It's a mathematical construct. We see it in all the scriptures that we have been examining. And of course there were things like the 144,000 that I did meditate on, which I thought was a numerical value as such, and Mother Eve has verified that it is a number that is that people are really, or souls are really transiting in that realm, or have transited into that realm of the 5th and 8th dimension. And Mother Eve also did state people with the life path number of number 5 and number 8 are in that realm. Whether there were others, I'm not sure, but this is what the message was. So life path number 8 and 5, or whether it was your soul urge number, or you would have that number somewhere in your makeup. And so we are called to, which the word called is the first thing, and this is what Mother Eve is saying. This is the pattern that we are now following. We have to call before we can create. So first of all, we had in the beginning God created. The first God we encountered was created, the created God. But now it's the called God that we are, of course, we are going to call. That's why they said you call things into being. So the called God is number 1 here. So, of course, this is something that I am examining more into, trying to understand the pattern that Mother Eve is really calling us to follow, so we can be in alignment with that which we are meant to do as our creating man in our image and likeness, or after our likeness. Okay, so I hope you have found this useful somehow. I know it seemed like I've gone well, I'm doing snake, I'm doing serpent thing, so sometimes it does not come as direct as intended, but that's what the serpent is about. It goes round a bit, it goes up and down, and to make the point. So I'm happy doing that. Thank you very much. And do like and subscribe if you are new to this channel and you have any points, or whether you're new or not, of course, do leave your comments as well. I love to read them. And of course, do join me again as we further explore Mother Eve and the gods, and seeing how we are participants in creating this new world. Of course, it's about the new world. Let there be light, and there was light.